But let's get started with some sports business news, and we begin with the National Basketball Association and their media rights deal, which essentially was going to Amazon. And I said was because TNT has decided to match Amazon's offer as far as financially speaking. But the thing is that the NBA holds the right to determine whether or not they're going to accept the matching of the offer by TNT. A lot of complicated issues surrounding this. Needless to say, the National Basketball Association basically has to decide as to whether or not they're going to stay with the team at TNT that they have had for decades or move on to Amazon to give them more of a important streaming format, which is what they're going to claim with Amazon. They get more of a footprint on streaming than they do with TNT. Needless to say, this is probably going to court because TNT held the right to match. NBA says they don't. Stay tuned, a lot more coming. Meanwhile, we'll have to stay tuned to the National Football League because we went from 16 games to 17 games, and now, folks, we're headed toward an 18-game NFL season. The NFL Players Association has engaged in high-level discussions about an 18-game season. This is according to the NFLPA's executive director. A meeting was held on Monday with Washington Post reporters and editors at the headquarters of the NFLPA. Talks have not yet progressed to negotiations, but certainly once this begins, there is a chance. Now, how would this get done? Would there even be an NFL preseason at all? They already went from 4 games down to 3. Could it go just down to 1? Could there just be scrimmages? Needless to say, this could go deeper into the NFL season, maybe into February, and mid-February is when we could see the Super Bowl, so stay tuned for that as well. Meanwhile, Team USA getting ready for their appearance in France, and that is coming very soon. They had a tune-up again yesterday. They won their 5th straight matchup, beating Germany 92-88, and LeBron James had points, steals, rebounds, did it all, finished with 24 on the way to a 92-88 victory. So the showcase, as you see there, has been swept, and Team USA is the very heavy favorite to take home the gold, although the games have been a lot closer than what you would have expected thus far. Meanwhile, over to Major League Baseball, where the Kansas City Royals and Arizona Diamondbacks got off to a very heated match last night. Bobby Witt Jr., all-star and one of the best players in baseball, was hit by a pitcher on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Later on in the game, tempers flared when they returned the favor, hitting a player on Arizona. Now, needless to say, Torey Lovullo went out to the mound, was fighting with umpires behind home plate. He was ejected. He didn't agree with it. Also said after the game, Lovullo said that he would never hit Bobby Witt Jr. He's one of the faces of baseball. Meanwhile, on the flip side, Kansas City not too happy either. Matt Quartaro, the manager of the Royals, saw his catcher, Salvador Perez, getting in the middle of the fracas and says Salvi was just defending his teammate.
Well, Salvi's fired up every day. I mean, that's how he plays, and he said earlier in the game after a home run, that's the best player I've ever played with, and that's a big that's a big thing to put on his shoulders. And Salvi cares more than anybody, for not only for winning games, but for this city and this franchise, and that's the passion he plays with. That's the joy he brings to the game every day.
Yeah, Salvage, that's why he's the captain. He's protecting all the guys. He's got everyone's back, so it's pretty special to have a teammate like him on your team, because if anything like that happens, he's the first one up, first one there, and he's I don't know if I would want to mess with him.
Salvador Perez, long time Kansas City Royal and going strong still. All right, let's get to some other news in Major League Baseball. Not the news you want to see if you want an active trade deadline, but here's the Chicago Cubs are not going to be in the mix to add. Whether or not they subtract still remains to be seen. Jed Hoyer, running the show in Chicago, told reporters yesterday that the moves they make will be the future in 2025, not necessarily anything for 2024. Meanwhile, the Seattle Mariners offense takes another step back. After designating Ty France for assignment, J.P. Crawford is now going on the injured list with a fractured pinky. Seattle hanging on to dear life in the American League playoff picture. Mike Trout is beginning a rehab assignment, AAA Salt Lake, on Tuesday night. He's been out since April the 29th with a torn meniscus. He had surgery on May the 3rd. In Major League Baseball tonight, it is Paul Skeens' day for Pittsburgh. We saw him in the All-Star game. Now we're going to see him face off against the St. Louis Cardinals. The Phillies take on the Twins with Zach Wheeler, and the Braves minus Ozzie Albies and Ronald Acuna Jr. and a lot of other players, will take on the Cincinnati Reds this evening. Jamar Chase waiting for a new contract offer for the Cincinnati Bengals. May not happen before the season begins unless there is just posturing going on. Mike Brown, the team president, at an annual luncheon said that opportunities can arise unexpectedly, but contracts aren't currently ideal to sign Chase to an extension before camp begins. So basically saying, quote, it's not so likely that this is a good time to negotiate. The offseason is a better time for that, and we're going to be focused on football. Stay tuned to see if Jamar Chase gets a new contract. Hassan Reddick, one of the best defensive pass rushers in the NFL, was moved to the New York Jets in the offseason looking for a new contract. The Jets traded a 2026 third-round pick to get Reddick. Meanwhile, Reddick says he ain't playing until he gets a new contract. So holdout underway for Reddick with the Jets. Gerard Mayo making a very intriguing announcement this morning, saying that it looks like Jacoby Brissett is the most pro-ready quarterback they have at the NFL quarterback position. My goodness, May looks like he is the backup to open the season for the Patriots. Long year for them. And also, as we've talked about several times before, the Bears have allowed Jonathan Owens to miss 7 training camp days to go watch his wife, USA gymnast Simone Biles, to compete in Paris. And, of course, that gets underway this weekend. Meanwhile, Andy Murray, one of the greatest United States tennis players of all time, 3-time Grand Slam champion, has announced that he's going to retire from tennis after the Paris Olympics. 19-year career, 37 years old. Murray withdrew from Wimbledon earlier this month after failing to recover from a spinal cyst, and naturally a great career coming to an end for him. Tiger Woods watched his son Charlie play at the U.S. Junior Amateur Tournament. Charlie shot a 12 over 82 on Monday. Woods said that he still qualified. Needless to say, Charlie with probably not his best performance thus far, although he did play a lot better in Coral Springs last month. There are several series that have been announced. One is going to be very intriguing for a lot of people watching, and that is Connor Stallions. I don't know if you remember his name. He was allegedly involved in this sign-stealing scheme within the Michigan football team before the Wolverines went on to win the championship. The 4th season coming for Untold on Netflix. Stallions will be the subject of one of them. Also, former NFL Steve McNair is another topic that they're going to be covering as well. And also, the NBA finally wrapped up their summer league, and the champions of the summer league ends up being the Miami Heat, 120-108. They defeat the Memphis Grizzlies, and that is the final. By the way, in summer league overtime rules, both teams play to a target score rather than a clock, and the target score is set to 120 points. The Heat hit that, and they end up winning the Summer League championship.